Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Go Wild. This week we're visiting the Scarlet Macaw, which is a bright red, has a powerful beak, and is native to South and Central America. Joey Brown joins me again this week to tell me more.
Yes, welcome back to Hope Zoo. Here we got a group of about 12 macaws, and throughout the zoo we have many more paired up in smaller kind of enclosures.
All right, what do they eat, Joey?
So they're kind of omnivores, but they're mainly kind of eating fruits, seeds, and nuts and stuff. So they are known to eat insects here and there, but I'd say 95% of their diet is foraging through the forest, flying from tree to tree, finding nuts, berries, any types of fruits, even stuff on the ground. They actually make really good seed dispersers. So that means, as they fly around the forest eating these fruits, they're also pooping out the fruits and the seeds. So they kind of help with forest growth by helping disperse those seeds around the forest as they move around and eat them. They are very loud too. You'll see, this is quiet for them. And the cool thing about them is that they are actually monogamous, or they mate for life. So they pair up with a partner, a male and a female pair up, and then they're bonded for life. The female will lay anywhere from 2 to 4 eggs in the spring, usually January to April. And those eggs will actually incubate for about 5 weeks. So in the wild, they'll find kind of tree cavities or holes in trees to kind of nest inside of. But here we use these boxes, which are really good. They like to nest inside the boxes. And then the female will actually help sit on those eggs and keep them warm and incubate them. And the male will actually go out and find food. Funny enough, when the babies actually hatch, they look nothing like macaws. They're actually totally bald, and they look really funny. They have no feathers at all. It's just like a pink skin. They look really weird. Most people are like, that's a macaw. And then eventually, after several months, they kind of flourish into these beautiful birds they are now. Like right now, you'll see some of them kind of hanging out, like in group, in a pair. So that normally they're a pair. But
So
look up there. They kind of flirt and court with each other. So the best time to see the pairs is to come at night, because they'll sleep side by side every night. During the day they kind of move around, but still they hang close. And here you'll see a few pairs hanging out close to each other.
Can they talk or mimic sound?
They mimic sounds, so they can talk, because they can mimic kind of human, any kind of words they hear. They actually are very good talkers, very good screamers. It's hard to teach them an exact word, but you can train them to say different various words.
So if I train it and I come back, would it be able to tell me the same thing?
So they have a great memory, so you can definitely train them to say the same words over and over. They'll even pick up on stuff. They may just hear you in conversation talking if you have one in your house, and they just may pick out a word and start mimicking that word. We had a macaw that was in the office for a while, and we used to, whenever we'd leave the office, when we were walking out, we'd always say goodbye, goodbye, and then after a couple months, all of a sudden he started saying goodbye back to us. So and then whenever someone would be leaving the office, he'd say goodbye. So they pick up on those things.
All right, you mentioned having them at home. Does that mean that we can have them as pets?
Yes, you can have them as pets. They're fairly common in the pet trade. If they're legally imported, through like any animal in Jamaica. But there are various people with them as pets and people breeding them here. Although they look like beautiful, amazing birds, they are very high maintenance and they're extremely loud. So they definitely can't be living in an apartment or have too close of neighbors. I've known people that have actually had these birds and they can get evicted or kicked out of their house or even their apartment because the neighbors complain so much.
In terms of Jamaica, is there anywhere on the island that I can spot a Scarlet Macaw?
Well, there's various places that have them in captivity. They're not from Jamaica, so we like to talk about they're from Mexico, Central America, down to South America, but they're not natively found here in Jamaica. But obviously we have them at the zoo. I think there's various other kind of animal kind of facilities around Jamaica where you can actually see them and in cages and stuff, but nowhere to see them in the wild.
What is its lifespan?
So they can actually live easily 50 or more than 75 years. So in the wild, I'd say more around 50 years, but in captivity, they're known to live 75, close to 100 years. So it's another reason to think twice before getting it as a pet, because there's a good chance it's going to outlive you, and you may be passing it on to a friend or family member. But yeah, they live almost 100 years.
Are they endangered? What's their conservation status?
They're not endangered. Their conservation status, they're actually considered least concern, but they are, their numbers are kind of slowly declining, mainly from habitat loss, because they do live in the rainforest, so obviously deforestation is a major threat to them. And then also another big threat is the kind of overexploitation from the pet trade. So they are, the native countries, they are poached, taken from the wild, and sold illegally on the pet trade. So that's another thing to think about. They are bred in captivity, which is a great way to get one, but you have to be careful because these animals are poached, and that's slowly threatening their numbers in the wild.
Well, that's it for this week's episode of Go Wild. Join us again next week to learn more about the animals here at the zoo. Until then, I'm Kelsey.
I'm Joey.
Go Wild.